Hello, welcome to the Mermaid Tavern. How are you doing? Chin chin. Snodjovar. Skål. Mm. Bottoms up. And happy Valentine's Day to all you lovers out there. Oh, what a thing to be in love. I thought for Valentine's Day, as regarding the Beatles, I do my top 10 Beatles love songs. I know, it's been done before, but yeah, I'm going to give you my top 10 in reverse order because you always do, don't you, when you do top 10s. Playing against the rules as I'm very, I've got the habit of doing. I've got an 11th just outside, and I'm going to tell you about that. And a word of warning, I will be doing a bit of singing here. No, please don't go away. No. If you were here when I was talking about that great George Harrison song, I Still Love You, I did some appalling singing in that, didn't I, at the very beginning? You would never believe, would you, that I once got top marks for singing? You'd never believe, would you? No, that was atrocious. I was going, I was singing along with the track, and I was a bit worried about getting done for, copyright. So I suppose that was me subconsciously killing the song so I wouldn't get done for copyright. Just the 30 seconds or so I had of it in anyway. Anyway, I got away with it. But at what cost? At what cost? So I will be doing a little bit of singing here, but in moderation, but you'll know them anyway. Shall we start the top 10? Or let's start with our number 11, shall we? Yeah. The long and winding road that leads to your door. I don't know about you. I'd be really interested to hear what you think about this. Is it just me? But for me, there's no perfect version of that song. It's absolutely one of the very best ever Beatles songs. Far prefer it to Let It Be. But we know, don't we, that the version that was on Let It Be, the choirs of angels, what they call specterized Phil Spector, and Paul hated all that, didn't he? And it's not great with those choirs of angels, is it? But then it's equally not great with those choirs of angels taken away. It's like unfinished, you know. Even the versions I've heard on the Get Back sessions, there's no great version of it. It just sounds unfinished. Do you remember when Let It Be Naked came out? Which I, at the risk of sounding critical, I always thought was one of the most pointless Beatles albums ever. I mean, why didn't they just put out the Get Back Glenn Johns mix then? The one that we got on the Let It Be Super Deluxe. Why didn't we just have that then? Because that was naked, wasn't it? Why just take all that Spectre stuff off it? It didn't sound, to my mind, a lot of the tracks on that, most notably Long and Winding Road, sounded far too naked and unfinished and demos. And, you almost wanted Phil Spector's Choirs of Angels again, not quite, but so there's no great version of that song. It's problematic. That's why it's number 11 for me, anyway. So I'd be really interested to hear what you think about that. But you need a little bit of orchestration, gently, but yeah, it was too much with Phil Spector. But yeah, so number 11, just outside the 10, is The Long and Winding Road. So let's start the top 10. I get high when I see you go by. My oh my, when you sigh, my inside just flies. Butterflies, why am I so high when I'm beside you? It's only love and that is all. Oh, what a wonderful song that is. It's Only Love. And that's my number 10. John was very critical of this song. Later on, he called it sort of lousy. and it's I think it's brilliant. It's on Help, of course, isn't it? It actually came out in America on Rubber Soul. I think weird, isn't it? What they did to the sort of American Rubber Soul, put that on it. But anyway, have you heard the version on Anthology 2? I think the version on Anthology 2 is much better. The version on Help has got, now I'm not a musician here, so far be it from me to criticise, but the backing sounds kind of twangy and tinny and twangy. You hear the version on Anthology 2, it's much clearer. John's vocal, it's more fuller, and the backing is more fuller and much nicer. So you check out the version on Anthology 2 of It's Only Love. I think it's a much nicer song. So yeah, my number 10 is It's Only Love. One day you'll look to see I'm gone, but tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. Someday you'll know I was the one, but tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. I'll follow the sun. That's my number 9. It's that was end of December, end of the year 1964. It was on Beatles for Sale in England. I think this was a very early song for Paul. He wrote it apparently at Forthland Road, his childhood home. The one that you can go in, the National Trust owned house. And he even mentioned in an interview that the lace curtains. Remember Through the Lace Curtains, that picture that was taken for Chaos and Creation in the Backyard? Paul could have been out there just working on that, but he wrote it in the living room there. Very early song. Lovely song, really is. I'll Follow the Sun. Yeah, that's my number 9. Everywhere people stare each and every day. I can see them laugh at me, and I hear them say, hey, hey, you got to hide your love away. Oh, great stuff. John really doing a real Dylan there, isn't he? But it works. 1965 came out. As on the Help side. What's it about? I've heard lots of people suggesting things that it was about, like a sort of secret liaison. I even heard somebody suggest it was directed at Brian, as in hiding the fact that he was gay. Quality song though, isn't it? I mean, just really lovely. So yeah, that's my number 8. You've got to hide your love away. Hey, you got to hide your love away. We talked until 2, and then she said it's time for bed. She told me she worked in the morning and started to laugh. I told her I didn't and crawled off to sleep in the bath. Really, 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 really love Norwegian Wood. That was on Rubber Soul just for Christmas 1965. Just a suggestion of an extramarital affair going on there. Wonder what Cynthia thought of that song, suggesting whether she was a Norwegian girl and whether she would. Norwegian Wood was, I think, the first appearance of the sitar in a Western song or a Western pop song. Georgia Course doing the sitar in Norwegian Wood. I think that's the case. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's my number 7, Norwegian Wood. Sharp intake of breath. That's a bit of a clue. Is there anybody gonna listen to my story? All about the girl who came to stay. She's the kind of girl you like so much it makes you sorry. Still you don't regret a single day. Ah, girl. Girl. Oh, I love Girl. I really do. I really love it. Just it's a really lovely song, isn't it? It's Rubber Soul again, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. It's so different when I first heard that song to anything else. It's got a sort of dun 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 dun. I've heard some suggestion that it's sort of like kind of Greek. Dun, 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 dun. There's a Greek sort of vibe going on there. I don't know. It sounds a bit like it could be played with a zither. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's got that sort of vibe to it. I think John said it was just like a dream, didn't he? And then later on, he said years later, when he wrote, of course, Double Fantasy, he wrote Woman, and he said that was like he'd sort of matured. But yeah, I love that. Ah, girl. Oh yeah, fantastic, really fantastic song, girl. Yeah, so that's my number 6. Ah, this is a difficult one to sing. It's a lovely song. The day breaks, your mind aches. You find that all the words of kindness linger on when she no longer leaves you. She wakes up, she makes up, she takes her time and doesn't feel she has to hurry. She no longer needs you, and in her eyes you see nothing. No sign of love behind the tears, crying for no one. A love that should have lasted years. Oh, for no one. Paul, that's a lovely song. That's on Revolver, and he's playing. Is he playing it? It's called a clavichord. It's like a sort of uh, keyboard with strings, like a harpsichord. But it's called a clavichord. Sort of, kind of very baroque Renaissance instrument. That's the sound you get in there of that sort of instrument playing in there. But it's a funny song because it's like a bit of a breakup sort of song, isn't it? I think I read that he'd written it after an argument with Jane Asher, who was going out with, of course, Jane. It's sort of wasn't the working title "Why Did It Die?" Something like that. So it's almost like a love that should have lasted years but didn't. So it's an anti-love song, really, but it's a bit of a melancholic love song. But I quite like melancholic love songs, don't you? There's nothing wrong. They haven't got to all be upbeat, and they can be sometimes a bit sort of looking back on sadness with them, reflective and poignant, can't they? You know, and that's one of them. It's a lovely Paul McCartney song, that For No One. So yeah, that's my number 5. So where are we up to now? We're up to number 4. We're up to number 4. Up to number 4. This is a song from Help. I'll give you a clue. Which is the song in the movie Help where they're playing on Salisbury Plain with all the tanks around them encircled and the army defending them from Clang, who's after the Beatles? What's that song on Salisbury Plain? Yeah, you know, it's realize how much I need you. Mm-mm. Love you all the time and never leave you. Mm-mm. Oh, one of the songs he wrote for Patty, I think. Gorgeous song. Was that one of the first of George's songs? I think it was one of his first high-profile songs, first or second of the songs that he got on an album. You know, he met Patty, of course, during Making It a Hard Day's Night, didn't he? Gorgeous Patty. Yeah, that scene on Salisbury Plain where they're playing, and great. I love Help, and where you see the neck of George's guitar, and then it pulls focus, and what do you see in the background? Stonehenge. Stony, as I call it. Yeah, good place I've seen quite a bit of in the past. Over the years, introducing that place to tourists, a lot of to American tourists. It's always, you know, it's great fun to see the reactions to it, how excited they all are. But you have to sort of sometimes think, oh God, it's still Stonehenge again. But sometimes, like if you've got Beatles fans, like I say to them, which is the song the Beatles recorded on Salisbury Plain with all the army and the tanks around, and yeah, but most Beatles fans would know that one. So yeah, that's my number 4. I Need You, which came out in I think the summer of 1965. It was on Help. Bless you, George. Something in the way she moves rose attracts me like no other lover. Something in the way she woos me. I don't want to leave her now. You know I believe in how. What are you asking me? My love grow. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful song. Something about that song. George again. But by August, September 1969, he'd really found his songwriting mojo, and it was more great stuff was to come, you know. I think it was put out as a double A side with Come Together just a few weeks after Abbey Road came out as a double A side single. Both great songs, weren't they? I think. Am I right in saying that was the first? Because obviously the Beatles in UK had the habit of not putting their singles on the albums. So was that one of the first? Because of course Something and Come Together were both on Abbey Road. But was that one of the first times? I think it was. First time single tracks had come out just after the album release, you know. That was unusual because all the ones before were not on albums, were they? You know, great promotional film for that, wasn't it? With them all and their wives. Yeah, I think they were all wives by then, weren't they? Maureen Starkey, Yoko, Patty, Linda, bless her. Yeah, I think George said later on that I think Patty says in her autobiography. George said he'd written it for her, and everyone's assumed that. But then later on, he said it wasn't that. People were fooled into thinking that because of the promo film. And he said, I think it was. There's a lovely quote. It says, "All love is part of a universal love. When you love a woman, it's the God in her that you see." That's a lovely quote, isn't it? That's a lovely quote. The guitar in that, brilliant. George was great. Such a great guitarist, wasn't he? Such a great, wonderful arrangement in that song too, isn't it? Of course, it's been very well covered, isn't it? Frank Sinatra's favourite. Isn't that the one where he did say by Lennon and McCartney? And of course, I might be wrong. It was really Harrison, but it was definitely his. I think later on he corrected that, but it was definitely. Frank said it was something like the best love song of the last 50 years. Praise indeed. Is it After Yesterday one of the most covered songs? Possibly. I'm not sure. Possibly. I also remember hearing that George, rather similar to Yesterday, George had got the melody or got a difficulty with the bridge or something, but was thinking that he'd heard it because it was such in his mind. He thought, oh, it must be something else, you know. Something in the way she moves. I think that's James Taylor, who was on Apple Records, who George produced. I think he had a song called that, but he'd come up with a melody just like Paul had for Yesterday, and it was so good he must have ripped it off from somebody else. But no, of course he hadn't. So he had a real Yesterday thing going on there that, of course, Paul had with Yesterday itself, thinking it was too good to be true, you know. So that's interesting, isn't it? That is my number 3, Something by George. Say you will love me if I have to go. You'll be thinking of me. Somehow I will know. Someday when I'm lonely, wishing you weren't so far away, then I will remember the things we said today. Me, I'm just a lucky guy. Love to hear you say that love is love. Oh, I love this song. Things We Said Today. What a wonderful, wonderful song it is. Hard Day's Night, summer 1964. Highlight for me, this one. I really love it. A real great Paul It's song. A funny sort of song because he's talking about loving a girl despite the distance between them, and almost like a sort of imagining them in the future, looking back. You know, someday we will remember things we said today. I love it. It's great lyrics, great song. One of my all-time favourite love songs. Anyway, never mind just Beatles. Things we said today. Absolutely. Paul, one of your best. But there's another one to come because that was just number 2. What's number 1? If you've been with me before here at the Mermaid Tavern, I've talked about this song at length as being my not just favourite Beatles love song, but my actual favourite Beatles song of all time. It's one of the very first ones I heard many moons ago in the late 70s. It's the B-side of Love Me Do. It was recorded in October 1962. Ringo wasn't on the drums; he was on the maracas. Who was the drummer? Who was the drummer? Yeah, you'll know Andy White. And, as I write this letter, send my love to you. Remember that I'll always be coming home again to you, love, until the day I do love. P.S. I love you, you. As I write this letter, I want you to remember that I'll always be in love with you. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What a wonderful, wonderful song. So that is my number 1. Yeah, P.S. I love you. Yeah. So that, my friends, is my top 10 Beatles love songs. What did you think of my selection? Don't mention my singing, please. What did you think? What did you think? Please, I'd be really interested to know what you thought. Please, in the comments, let me know what your top 10 are. It'd be really nice to have some interaction. Yeah, and of course, goes without saying, like and subscribe. Like if you like, subscribe if you want some more of this rubbish. Bless you. You are my company, and I really value you being here. And as I say, if you are in love, even if you're just fantasizing about love like I do, we live in hope, don't we? And if you have love in your life, cherish that love. And you're very lucky, and bless you for it. Bless you for your company. Thanks for dropping by the Mermaid Tavern again. I'm going to say Happy Valentine's Day. Chin chin to you.